Hi, my friends. Welcome to the Diamond Painting Effect with Cori, and I am Cori. Today we're doing another stitch along, and I'm working on my Tower of Kitties by DIY Cross Stitch that I got from New Craft Day for $5.25. I got that one in January, and I just started it this week. It is a 30 by 40 centimeters, 86 stitches by 129 stitches, and it has 24 colors in it. Today I'm going to be working on this yellow color number. It's not yellow, it's actually a gray mauvish color, but the symbol is yellow on the kitty. I'll be working in this area up here, and I'm trying to decide if I want to do the loop method or Okay, I'm going to do the loop. I decided to do the loop. I've got some of my threads threaded for the loop method and some of them loaded for the Jill Green method, I'll call it, because she's the one that taught me how to do that. And I will start up here because this is an area that probably needs to be started with the loop method, because there's not a whole lot in this area to bury your stitches in, which is the reason why the loop method is oftentimes good. The problem with the loop method is if you have a bunch of small areas, you can only do the loop method once when you move your thread around, because you'll end up in one spot and have to move to another spot, and every time you move you can't start with the loop method or you'll be wasting your thread. So this is my Tower of Kitties from New Craft Day. Everything's going well. I slept well. Yesterday was a hard day. I did the diamond painting drill with me yesterday. I actually was feeling pretty good while I did that one. As far as my back and neck. And so I continued and I worked on it until I started hurting, and then I stopped. I didn't get a whole lot further, but I was able to get a little bit more done on that diamond painting. I really want to finish that one if I can. But I'm going to have to do it by doing small stretches at a time. And so I really wish I had a cross stitch pattern that would work with the Diamond Grandma's Show Your Flag. Maybe I ought to look through them with a new eye and see if I can twist something into that, because Diamond Grandma doesn't mind if you do that. She just wants people to participate. I look at it as a good way to use my stash, and not having to go buy more things specifically, because I do have that problem of I don't want to add stuff just for the sake of adding if I can use my stash. And I do like to participate. I think a lot of you are here because of Diamond Grandma. She has brought you to my channel, and some of that has snowballed, and I've been watching my channel grow, and I really appreciate all of my subscribers out there. This is This is kind of an experiment for me to do the stitches with me. Um, I want to give it a good try. Um, I don't know how long I'm going to do it for before I make a decision whether or not I will continue. But your comments will help me decide on that. If you guys are interested in it, I'll keep doing it. Um, so I'm hoping my stitching abilities will evolve and get better. Right now, I feel like I am not an authority on anything. I'm only an authority on what I do. And because I am learning, cross stitching it's either changed or I was just completely unaware when I cross stitched before of the right way to do things, quote unquote. There's a bit of a fear of what the stitchy police are going to do to me if I do it wrong. But I know some rules I deliberately break, and I don't care. Some things I'm just not sure how to go about it. Like, I still don't know a good way to do a confetti where you just have 1 or 2 stitches of a color. Something is going on with the cats behind me, and I think I'm going to have to get after Gunther. I have a styrofoam board in my window that helps insulate that window when it's cold. And he loves to chew that styrofoam. He makes confetti out of it. And he knows he's not supposed to. I think he controlled himself and stopped himself. But my son is in a snowstorm in Wisconsin. He says he's going to try to get out of it because he picked up in a more southern, I have no idea where he is. I don't know. But somewhere a little bit south, the storm is south, and where he needs to take it is north, and he believes that the northward trajectory will get him out of the storm. So he's trying to escape it that way. And I wish he would tell me about this stuff after he does it instead of while he's doing it, because that causes me to worry. And he sent me a video of him trying to back up to the dock. And the truck just wasn't cooperating with the ice. They were not in it together. Now, I skipped over some of these areas here that had a line through it, and I just realized that dark line is a back stitching line, and it's not another symbol. So I'm going back and trying to pick up those yellow, those are the whiskers that are on there that I will have to back stitch in. So I'm coming back here to pick those stitches up. It's good to know that my mind automatically saw something different and avoided it. But in this case, it needed to think about it and sew it. Another thing I think is interesting about this filming is I noticed that it looks like to you that I'm holding this up and down. It really truly is flat. And I don't know why the camera isn't picking it up flat. I suppose maybe at times I do bend it up a little bit absentmindedly so I can see it, but anyway, we had, and as far as my life goes, we had, yesterday I made chicken fajitas for dinner. I was really industrious, not on my diet, of course, but I found a recipe for biscuits that claimed to be like restaurant biscuits. And I wanted to try to figure out how to make good biscuits. I mean, I grew up on Betty Crocker recipe biscuits from the Betty Crocker cookbook. And I've always loved biscuits. The biscuits have been one of my favorite from a little kid. You know, my mom sent me recipes of biscuits when I went to college because I was her biscuit girl. And, but I have been trying to find a really good biscuit recipe, and I'm never happy with them completely because I want the perfect biscuit. And I found a recipe. I thought I would try it, and I think I might tweak it a little bit. I did it as it was because I wanted to know how it was, first of all. But now I want to tweak it because it called for sugar. And, you know, to me a biscuit isn't sweet. If you want a sweet biscuit, you add the sweet later. You add honey, or you add, I can't think of the word, my mind went blank, jellies and jams. When we grew up, my mom made biscuits like, instead of having pancakes, we had biscuits, and we just put butter and syrup on them. And oh, they are delicious. That's the way I love my biscuits. Now, I can't do that anymore. For multiple reasons. Diabetes being one, and calories being another, and carbohydrates being another, and so I can't really do that very often, but every once in a while I do want to do that, have a good biscuit with syrup and butter on it. And so I decided to do that. I also got some sausage and made sausage gravy. So we had biscuits and gravy, and then we also had syrup and biscuits another day. You know, I just made one batch of biscuits up, and you know, I can't, they do make me sick if I eat more than one. And so, anyway, I've been experimenting with that over the last couple of days. And the thing that made this recipe different from any I had seen before is it, number one, had an egg in it. Number two, it had cream of tartar in it. And I believe the cream of tartar helps them stay fluffy once they fluff. And the other thing is instead of incorporating the butter into the dough, I use my salad shooter and grated the very cold butter using the waffle fry, I don't know, the thing that goes up and down, slices. So I sliced it like that, dipped it in the flour batter, and then with my hands, I just broke those up into little chips of butter, put that back in the refrigerator while I mixed the dough, and then I put those basically butter chips into the dough and stirred it up. The dough was cold because I keep my flour in the freezer because I don't use the flour very often. So the flour was cold, everything was really cold, and I put those butter chips, and it literally looked like it was butter chips. Like I had macadamia nuts in there or something. And I cooked it that way. And by George, people, it worked. It made a really good biscuit. The only complaint I had of those biscuits was that it had the sugar in it. I I don't like the sweet. There was only 3 tablespoons of sugar in it, but that little bit I didn't like. That's not a biscuit. A biscuit's salty. A salty. I don't want to say savory because that would insinuate other flavors. I think, but it's a good biscuit isn't sweet. So this is a trick, you guys. I accidentally came up the wrong hole. I came up in the top left corner instead of the bottom left corner. So the way I'm going to fix this without backing out is I'm going to go this stitch to finish this cross this way would be wrong. But I'm going to go ahead and put my needle down where that stitch would cross, finish that cross. But then underneath I'm going to come up in the hole that I should have come up in the first place. I've got the other thread under my thumb. I'm going to pull this through like this. I'm going to make sure my needle goes and the thread goes across up to that top right corner like that, and then I'm going to put it into that hole, and then I'm going to pull this thread as low to the fabric as I can and pull it straight out that way, and now I got that stitch crossed the right way. I don't recommend that because I'm sure that broke every stitching police rule, but golly, that got me out of that bind real quick, because backing out isn't always my favorite option. So this stitch I did correctly, and as you'll see, I did that other stitch wrong, but it's okay. I'm leaving it. What happened was I went across 2 rows, and when this is over, I'm going to go in and fix that whole section because I went over two squares instead of 1. Golly. So that's my biscuit story. I do want to try it again without any sugar. A biscuit recipe does not need sugar. The problem is it's time to get on with my diet. I don't know, I was doing so good before the holidays. And I even throughout the holidays, I was back and forth. When I got sick, I just gave up. It was just, it's easier to not diet. That's all there is to it. And I need to get back to it. I really, really do. So I tried to think if I saw anything new in this stitching world over the last 24 hours, new to me, to talk about. I know Ava over Stitching in the Interlake, she's doing knitting this week, knitting a shawl or a scarf, and it looks like that would be easy enough for me to try. I just don't know where my knitting needles are, or I would give it a go. It looked like something I could actually do. I have not knitted since I was a preteen, or 12 years old, 9, 10, 11. I I learned all different kinds of um, crafting and sewing and when I was a young girl, and I just kind of did a little of everything, and nothing really. The knitting is something I never really wanted to pick up and try again. It just, the crochet was easier, although I still don't really crochet much. I just do simple things that don't need a real pattern. Like if it's just something that's repetitive pattern, I can do that. Um, I discovered the what, I can't remember what the basket weave stitch, and I went crazy with that a couple years ago. Actually, I think it was like 5 years ago, because one of the baby blankets I made back then, he's about 6 now. So maybe it was 6 years old. 6 years ago that I went through that waffle stitch craze. I made pot holders and blankets and stuff like that. But it was, multiples of 4. You just crochet in the front stitch 4 stitches, and then you crochet the back stitch 4 stitches. And I think you did a double crochet each time. And it just looked like it was a woven basket when you were done. So, anyway, it looks like we don't really have time for a cowboy story, but I've got one ready. So maybe we'll do that one tomorrow. And with that, I want you all to take care. Thank you for subscribing, liking, and commenting on my videos. That helps give me the motivation to do another one. I want y'all to take care so I can see you again in the next one.